only when my husband had a health scare, and we thought we are gonna lose him. He had a cardiac arrest, and
Oh, wow.
not sick or anything. That really got us into perspective that if we really want to spend more time with the family, go to places that we want to go to, we can't be slow in the process. We have to do what we have to do. And so that really was the driving force for us.
So you went through shipping, the hernia, then you went through cooking, your husband's health scare that just completely put your life into perspective. You figure out different ways and you don't let anything hold you back. That's remarkable. I love it. Hello and welcome to Dream Start Own, the path to own your time. I'm your host, Edgar the Connector, and today we have Celeste Samonte.
Hi, guys.
Hello, welcome. We've met through a Zoom and we just had a little conversation right now before starting the podcast, but I'm going to get to know her as our viewers get to know. Please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. It helps out, and send a like. And then as you're listening, send any questions you have for myself or Celeste, and we'll be happy to answer you and hopefully help you out. End up working together.
Mm-hmm.
Take that step, take that action. Don't sit there and wait. All right, great, Celeste. So we're both in Owners Club, right? Pace Morby's elite group, I guess you can say. I feel weird saying elite because I don't feel I'm at that level yet. But hey, that's a goal we have, and taking action to improve ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So where are you located?
I'm in Massachusetts right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Massachusetts. And you're in the real estate business?
Real
Are your properties in Massachusetts?
My properties in the business are all in Massachusetts right now, yes.
Nice. So it's houses and businesses. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a good story here. So what's your portfolio like right now?
So right now we currently have 5, and working on to adding more. We're buy and holders, so we look at properties that we can hold, and we try to strategically get cash flows from it above market, and making sure that we triple net lease it. Doing less but getting more from the property itself.
Triple net lease. What do you mean by that?
So it's like basically almost all our properties, when we rent it out, the maintenance, the utilities are being paid for whoever rents it out. There's no really money coming out. So I do have a property management company, but my property management is basically doing nothing because I don't care what happens to that property. My renters do it for me. So that's like 15-20% of my expense being taken out, and then I'm getting above market cash flow. So a little background about us is we have a property management and acquisitions company. We started with short-term rentals. We are in Massachusetts, so the wintertime short-term is really not that good. And so we pivoted into corporate housing and then midterm rental. And then we are now, because of that, I don't want a lot of vacancies. And so I explored into other rental options. And then when I found this one person that a company rented my property, and they're renting transitional housing, meaning they get grants from the government and then they rent out properties. When I heard about that, I kind of sat him down and say, I like your business, and is it okay if I partner with you? Like if you need properties in Massachusetts, I'm your go-to person. So now we're partners in that, and I'm trying to help other people do the same thing as well. And so and we serve the underserved people. So sober living, HL foster care, seniors, domestic violence, and veterans. So those are the transitional housing individuals and families that we help. So you're not only getting the cash flow business-wise, and the triple net lease that I was talking about, you're also helping more people than just renting your property from, one family or versus those people that are coming and going in your property.
I love it that you're helping out so many people, so many underserved people, as you said. And I love that when you met this person that was doing something different, that you, instead of you telling them, teach me, you said, how can I provide value to you? And you were able to partner up that way instead of trying to say me, which is awesome. The lesson learned, people who's listening to this, bring value. We had a previous guest, Paul, said the same thing. He brought value, and he's able to partner up with people and start leveling up that way.
Exactly. I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to have, because you don't necessarily have to own your property in this kind of model. If you can have that property, you rent it out, as long as they're okay in in subleasing it, we can help you with it. And so I've helped a few people in the Sub 2 community as well, and outside of Sub 2, who has a property that, otherwise they are vacant. As long as we have a program and as long as we have funding for it, we can work it out and, try to see if we can help you out. So this is not only for landlords and stuff. You can be a liaison too, because I'm advocating for them. I'm also partnering with Family Promise, which pays, and the community has helped before. Remember the Thanksgiving, a couple of Thanksgiving ago, we kind of like pooled our money and then helped Family Promise one Thanksgiving. And since then I've been working with them, and they provide houses for families with children. So before, I used to call a lot of pre-foreclosures, and if they're really being foreclosed on and I couldn't buy their property, there's really nothing I can do. If they have kids in their family, I reach out to Family Promise, and Family Promise helps them find a temporary home, house them for a little while until they're back on their feet and able to find another apartment for them or another house. So that's another thing that I am advocating to Family Promise. Yes.
Wow, that's magnificent. So if a family's going through trouble with foreclosure, Family Promise will help them out to kind of house them till they get back on their feet, or
yes,
maybe a time limit. I don't know. That's fantastic. I haven't heard that. I've heard other people doing foreclosures, but you're the first person that I've heard about Family Promise. I'm going to let them know about it as well to be able to help out families, especially, some foreclosures as real estate investors, those are ways to be able to pick up a property and help out a family as well. But sometimes they don't make sense, and it's very difficult because as investors, we're not just trying to make money. We're trying to help other people, but we need to make money for us to be able to do that.
Exactly.
How did you get started into real estate?
So I think early on, I've been really entrepreneurial, because even before the real estate thing, I used to design clothes, make them, and then sell them. I used to cook food. I even got a certificate for Massachusetts, that I can cook food and sell it. And so I would cook. I'm originally from the Philippines, so I would cook traditional Filipino dishes and then would sell it to groceries and Filipino groceries and stuff. I think that because I always want like a side job, like money coming out of your W-2, you still have some money coming out from whatever business. We used to have a shipping company wherein, Filipinos and Asians, immigrants in general, when they work here, they have families abroad, right? And we would fill boxes with a lot of goodies and send them back home. So we had that shipping business before, wherein we pick up boxes, we send them to shipping company, and then we get paid for that. So we used to have that. We stopped that because we were like picking up boxes and dropping them off, and then my husband had a hernia because of all those stuff. So I was like, okay, this is not for us, but we had fun. We were still young at that point. And then after that, it was like, okay, heavy work, heavy lifting is not for us. We started producing shows, comedy shows, like local Filipino comedians. We would bring them over here in Boston, rent out a club, or that time, the Hancock building in Boston, we rented it out, and we produced comedy shows. But at that time, it's like, we're kind of like a little bit break even, but with a little bit of thing, but break even is a lot of work. And then after that, my goal before was to really be a mom. And for the longest time, that's what I wanted. I wanted a huge family. I came from a big family. But it took us a while to have children. It took us 9 years to have our first son. And then when we had him, because we were so grateful that we had a son, and the joy and the love that you experience when having a child, we started the process of adoption. So we have 4 kids right now. We have one biological son, and the other 3 we adopted. And that took a lot of time. And so when that was said and done, having 4 children and having a W-2 and only like 1 property, and the amount of food that we go through, the groceries and everything, we were like, yeah, man, we gotta do something about it. And then college, and then extracurricular activities. There was one point that we were like paying $2,000 because of extracurricular activities alone. It was like so much, taekwondo, sports and all that stuff. And so we were like, we gotta figure out something. And so that's when we thought of, maybe we should buy an apartment, like a house, and then rent that out. And then, buy one house per year, because we didn't know anything then. By watching Bigger Pockets, we were like, oh, BRR method, we can earn if we buy a house, we can have a cash flow of $100. So and we're like so happy. Where are you gonna get $100, right? But learning and all those stuff, we figured real estate is really the way to go. But only when my husband had a health scare, and we thought we're gonna lose him and all that thing. That really got us into perspective that if we really want to spend more time with the family, go to places that we want to go to, we can't be slow in the process. We have to do what we have to do. And so that really was the driving force for us into moving forward and getting that financial freedom. That's why we bought 2 houses in a span of not even a month. And that's all conventional buying, because we didn't know creative then. But yeah, that just propelled us into buying more properties.
Remarkable story. So you went through shipping, the hernia, and you went through cooking, but you went the legit way. You went paperwork to the city or the state to sell, and then sell to grocery stores and things like that. I mean, that's you figure out different ways, and you don't let anything hold you back. That's remarkable. I love it. And then your husband's health scare that just completely put your life into perspective. Is everything okay with that now?
Everything's good. So he had a cardiac arrest, and
oh, wow.
not sick or anything. We come to find out because they did a genetic testing on them, because her sister had it too, and it's a genetic disorder. So our biological son, would have to have a test when he's 13 to see if he has it. Because if he has it, they're gonna put a pacemaker on him even at that early age, just so when he has a heart attack, it's gonna be fine. So it's just weak heart muscle, really. But I thought I was gonna bring him home as a vegetable, because at his state then, he couldn't. He was in coma for a little bit there, and we were told by the doctors to say goodbye. All his brother came in from Texas, and everybody was there. But I didn't give up. I was like, I'm gonna bring him home as a vegetable. I don't even care. I even ordered the bed. The bed that goes up and down. And I have a friend who works in senior housing, and she provides like the ramps and everything. And I was like, okay, I have 2 stairs in my house. Make sure you provide a ramp for me. I tailored the whole downstairs so that I can house my husband there, because I was like, I'm going to bring him home no matter what. But then he woke up, through God's grace and all the prayers and everything, he woke up, and it's as if nothing happened. The only thing that he forgot was that day and nothing else. I was like, oh man. But, he didn't forget.
Better safe than sorry, though, right?
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
What a roller coaster.
Yeah. That was the thing.
You're an amazing person. You're providing so much for your kids as well. You have your biological and your 3 adopted, is that right?
Yeah.
And then to take the time to actually put them in the extracurricular activities and not say I can't do it, but say how can I do it? That's a big learning thing that a lot of people stop at that and say, oh, I can't do it. Or they say, I can't do it. Or I can't, that's too much. Yeah. You don't look at that. You don't put barriers. You say, I can do it, but how am I going to do it? And you figure it out. Amazing. If you're listening, remember that.
If you say to your brain that you can't, your brain's not going to figure out how to do it, because you already said it, you can't. But if you try to figure out, how can I do it? How can I navigate this? Again, it's going to, subconsciously, it's going to find a way to solve it in a way. So yeah, it's going to creep out every so often, but it's on you to keep working on it.
I love it. Great advice. Yeah. You see yourself going the wrong way or negativity. No, turn it around.
It's not always easy, but you got to do it.
What were you doing before you got into real estate besides your side jobs? What was your main job, your W-2?
I was an office manager. For a long time, I was in the healthcare field for the longest time. I was an assistant, medical assistant, and then I was a manager at the GI clinic where we do big hospitals in Boston before, Brigham and BI. I worked there. But then before we got into real estate, I was a manager at the GI clinic over in Massachusetts here as well. But I was doing the property management then. And I was traveling since we bought a house at least an hour away from the city.
Wow.
And so my commute is back and forth. And my husband's like, he saw the, like I get tired a lot and stuff. Because when I get home, I still have to do, because, before there's no automation for Airbnb before. You have to do it all yourself. AirDNA was very, it's still in the infancy then. So it's not really very accurate. And so I had to do everything myself. And again, as I mentioned before, I'm technically challenged. So it was hard for me to figure all those things out. And then he said, just quit your job. My husband is a software engineer. And so quit your job, make it full time. That's why we put up the property management company, so I can manage the property itself. And for tax purposes as well, I'm a full-time real estate. And so there's a lot of tax benefits when it comes to that. And we own a few properties.
Definitely.
And so we really look at stuff on where we can maximize the profit. We can make full use of the tax benefits that are provided to us, and how we can offset the expenses and everything. But yeah, that's where we started, and it's all just personal navigation, trying to learn ourselves there. And since joining the community, obviously we know more, and it's really the people that and it's watching those people that has already done it and then just copying it, tailored to whatever it is that you're doing right now. So you won't start from the beginning. You'll start where you're at right now. So
splendid. How'd you get your first property?
Oh, the first property where I was just a single family home, our first house. And we were house hacking before house hacking was even coined. Because as Asians, we usually have a lot of families in the house. And so we didn't even know that we were house hacking, because my sister-in-law used to live with us, and she would pay us like a monthly, just to help with the monthly bill payments. And I didn't even know house hacking was called already house hacking. And I wish I registered it as a rent, because it would have helped us in buying another house, another property. Because if I already have like a history of rental, it could add into my income, and then I could afford more, bigger properties or more expensive properties. Because here in Massachusetts, properties are very expensive. You won't $599,000 home in here. It's always like, I think you could still buy 300, 400,000, but it's not going to be that cheap. The entry here is very expensive as well. So yeah. So that's our first property.
Amazing. So we're not CPAs, we're not giving financial advice. This is the experience that we've gone through. So talking about if you're house hacking, you need to register it as rental income to be able to get further, investor loans in the future to show you have a history. That's, things that with hindsight wish we learned before, but hey, at least you did it to learn it. And then you learn so much more when you're doing it. Talk about house hacking. Before I even started thinking about really being a real estate investor, I actually did a sub 2 and a house hack back in 99.
Wow.
My parents moved to a different house, and I told them, let me take over the house payments and I will rent out the other rooms to be able to pay for it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I wish I grew more into that and really learned more about it and kept that house. But, things happen. You're a teenager at that time, trying to enjoy life and go from there, figure out what you're going to do. You mentioned as being a real estate professional. So if you're watching this, look this up. Being a real estate professional gives you extra tax benefits and extra write-offs. We won't discuss it too much here, but that's one of the benefits of having, if you're a married couple, one of you being a real estate professional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So I call my husband my W-2. So he's my W-2. And I'm so grateful for him, because again, having 4 children, right? And I needed to be home then, because we only got our kids back in before the pandemic happened, and we needed time to bond and everything. So the pandemic was kind of like, I know for a lot of people, it was like a devastating time in their life. But with us, it kind of forced us to really be together and know each other, because we only got the kids back in December of 2019. And then pandemic happened March of 2020. They were just starting school then. They didn't even speak much English then, I had them tutored back home in the Philippines. They know they know how to speak English, but they're not, fluent in it yet. But it kind of forced us to be family, to know each other and everything. So the bonding was there. So that time was really a precious time for us because we were able to know each other. Otherwise, I would have to have time off from work and, and my husband too. But it kind of forced us to just be home and be present with each other. So, yeah.
So you adopted 3 at the same time in 2019?
3 at the same time. We were only supposed to adopt. We were only supposed to adopt 1, but then that little boy had siblings, and then when you see them, you can't really separate them. It's just, we didn't have a heart to separate them. And so we didn't even know if we're going to be allowed to adopt 3 because, we're like menial jobs. I'm a manager. My husband works in computers and stuff. And we have like a 3-bedroom house and we're only earning this much. And we're like, can we be approved for adopting this many kids? And we were. And, it's again, all through prayers. Everything I do, I pray for it first, I don't know how God answers it, but for some reason, I kind of have like the presence of mind. Okay, this is the God, this is the way I'm going to go for it and stuff. So I'm not really a religious person, but I'm just prayerful. So yeah.
That's remarkable. Bless your soul. Taking 3 on at one time, going from 1 to 4 one time is life-changing, daily changing, mindset changing. Mm-hmm. Wow. So your second property that you got intentionally for an investment, how did that one come along?
So when we got the kids, we wanted to have another property. Right before my husband had that health scare, had that cardiac arrest, we were actually, the night before he had a cardiac arrest, we were actually going to the bank the day after because we were supposed to close on the property.
Oh, wow.
We already saw this property. We can rent out downstairs. It's kind of multi-use property. We live upstairs and we rent out downstairs through a business. And that night we were talking about, we're going to go to the bank, do this, do that, and go to the closing and stuff. But then he had the cardiac arrest after that. So when he woke up from coma, you know what he asked me? He asked me what happened to the house because he knows we're going to close. And it was like, because I didn't know what's going to happen then. And so I called my realtor, I called my lender, and I told him this has happened and I don't think I'm going to be able to take on a new property and manage it and all that stuff. And I said, do we still have time to get our EMD back? Because we put in a huge EMD then. Because again, I didn't know that you can just put a low amount EMD. We really wanted the house, so we put a good chunk of money for the EMD. I was like, I want to get my money back. I'm not going to buy it anymore, blah, 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 blah. But then, so he woke up, he had a healthcare December. He woke up before Christmas, we were very happy. And then when he was able to travel, we just traveled. We went everywhere when he was able to. When the doctor said, you can travel, you can do whatever. We went to Chicago, Disney. We went everywhere in the US because, we want to experience life. And it's kind of like his second life almost. And so by May, I bought a property. June, he bought another or within that time frame. So we bought properties within a month of each other. Mid-May, and then him was June. And so, yeah, that's how our second and third properties were bought, just one after the other. The reason we were able to buy one property for each is because we separated our bank accounts. We separated everything. We don't have any bank that are joint. That way I can buy a residential and he can buy a residential, and you can buy every year doing that. That's another strategy that we only learned when we were like watching and reading and all that stuff. And so I try to tell people that before you get married, you buy one house and buy the other, not conjugal. And then when you get married, you can buy still one after the other, individually if you want.
That's extraordinary advice, extraordinary strategy to be able to basically double up how many loans you can get under your personal name. Going back to the property that you didn't go through is because of the health scare. So that's a residential on top and commercial at the bottom.
Yes.
I have no idea about those type of properties. Is that still considered single family home?
It's a single family multi-use.
Okay.
So, well, it's not single family; it's a residential multi-use, and there are lenders that won't allow you to do that. You have to have like a certain amount. You have to put down a certain amount, which we were gonna do. And then I talked to, and that property already has a rental history. So you have, at that time, I'm not sure if the regulations has changed. At that time, we have to have a proof that we can rent it the way we say we rent it out. Because otherwise, like the mortgage is going to be too much.
Right.
It's a huge house. I think it's a 4,000 something square foot house. It's studio at the like a huge studio at the bottom, and then upstairs there's like 6 bedrooms. It's
Wow.
like a 3-floor brick house. It's beautiful. It was like, oh my gosh, I lost the house, and it's right at the center of the city, so you can see everything. But then again, it's not God's will. It's not for us, so I kind of like let go.
Yeah.
So, and the property that we acquired afterwards were even better. And so we're like, yeah, we're really not meant for that. We're meant for other things. So, yeah.
So were you able to get back your EMD on that?
Yes, I was able to get back everything. One thing for me is I'm so good with calling people, like for credit cards. I call them and asking them to bring my
Limit up. Yeah.
credit limit up, and if I bought something and it didn't work out, getting my refund or whatever. So I'm very good with talking to people about that, explaining the situation, I guess. So I was able to get my EMD on that. Yeah, so I was happy.
That's
And
good.
they were understanding because of what happened to my husband. They
Right.
add
But some
to the-
people just some people aren't that way. That's great to hear that you're able to get that back. So now you say you run some businesses as well. So one of it's your property management that you created. You created it. Did you buy it? How did that come about?
Oh no, we created it. Since we were already managing our properties at that time, and then we searched up on being a real estate professional, and so it just made sense for us to put up a property management company because that counts as a real estate profession, and so it allowed me to retire from my W-2 and just do it full time, and get all the deductions and everything from that, while my husband still stays as a W-2 because to offset his salary as well.
Right.
For the expenses that we have. Yeah.
One of the biggest hacks to be able to increase your income is to save the amount of taxes that you pay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You already have it.
Yeah.
Find out how to save it.
And having 4 kids, there's another benefit from that. And also we taught our kids how to, because we've had Airbnbs before. All my kids know how to turn over a room, knows how to clean, how to mop, how to shovel, So they get paid when they do chores like that. So yeah.
That's a fantastic way to teach them. Unfortunately, a lot of parents want to spoil their kids and say, no, they made me do it when I was little, but we have to go through that to be able to learn, to be empathetic, to understand the struggle and why you should continue to improve yourself. I love it. Yeah. You're doing an amazing job. Do you have any other businesses besides the property management?
Acquisitions. We do have an acquisitions company where VAs call. So we're buy and hold. So we're mainly calling the properties that we can buy and hold. So other properties that we can't, we just usually wholesale them or give them to someone else. I don't even structure the deal or anything, not put it under contract. I just give them away. I was like, I didn't put this under contract. I didn't even structure this. I'm just gonna give it to you because we came across this. So yeah. Other than the property management, we have the acquisitions, and we are actually transitioning to residential assisted living. And so we're trying to acquire properties, residential properties, and transforming them into assisted living, 6 rooms above. So it's more of like a smaller assisted living facilities wherein we provide food, linen service, laundry, activities, transportation, and medical administration, medical, what do you call that? Assistance, but not administration. So we don't need to hire like a nurse or something like that. We provide services for independent seniors and veterans.
It's marvelous reasoning to do that. And it's a big need for assisted living and for the veterans as well.
It is a big need. Yeah. This one of the Zooms that I did this morning. I've been on Zoom since this morning. One of the Zooms, the Veterans Association here in Massachusetts, and they only really in the statistics, they only have the veterans that are in the program, and the ones that really have need, like the disabled and everything, they're not in this. They're not in the statistics. So whatever number we have right now in Massachusetts, it's even more than that. So I was like, I thought the numbers, when I Google it, the numbers are there. That's the number, but no, it's even actually more, which I'm trying to navigate. I have hopefully there's a property in here that I'm trying to see if we can partner with the seller, because the seller is doing the same thing, wants to do the same thing that I do. And so I wanted to partner with him on both the property and the operation side of it, to see if we can do something about it. So yeah, so crossing my fingers, praying really hard to see if this is really meant to be, you know.
It's fantastic. I love it. It's a great way to go about it. So partnering up with people instead of just trying to do it all yourself and take it over. So you mentioned some of the properties you picked up before the community, and the community being the Sub 2 community is that you joined. When did you join Sub 2?
It's going to be 2 years in April.
Okay. So a year before Squad Up.
Yeah.
And then you joined Gator as well. But you said when you joined, it was really,
it was really
slow process.
then. Yeah, because I think it got really popular at that time. So a lot of people joined, and Prime couldn't accommodate them. And so we couldn't accommodate us. I was one of those people that were like late getting all the duns and all those other stuff that, the LLC. We had an issue too, because we already had an LLC in Wyoming. And so they needed to make me another LLC for the Gator thing. And so I think, and it's Massachusetts, so they had a hard time doing something like that. I couldn't get an LLC in Wyoming because I'm operating in Massachusetts. So that took a while for them to figure out too. And I didn't know anything then. Yeah, but I was in Gator, and then I was in Sub 2 like 3 weeks after. And then at the Squad Up, they presented Owners Club, and I was like, I need that structure. I need that operations, because I am a visionary. I tell you what I want is what I want to do, and you come and do it for me. You present it to me and stuff. And so, yeah, it's been a tremendous help.
Yeah, I was listening to Rocket Fuel, and they talk about the visionary come out with ideas, but we don't want to implement them. Exactly. We want to tell you how we look at it, how we see it, take somebody get it done. So if you're an integrator out there that needs an idea and you can get it done, we have the ideas. Reach out to myself, reach out to Celeste. Yeah. We'll have her information down below. What's your Instagram? People can reach you there. Okay. Yeah.
Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Threads. It's all Celeste Samonte. Good thing I'm the only Celeste Samonte out there that has that page.
That's fantastic. Good to keep it that way. If somebody can bring you a deal right now, what is it you're looking for? So
my buy box currently right now is anything that is 6 bedrooms below, or at least 2,000 square feet. Because I'm transforming into residential assisted housing. And so no HOA, lowest entry fee as possible. I can do it creative or regular. C+ to B house areas.
Neighborhoods, yeah.
Yeah, so I can tailor it on all my exits, may it be transitional, co-living, or residential. For our residential assisted living, we want to tailor it to private pay. That's where that community comes in, the B+ A houses. And then for my transition are the C+ or something. So I want to make sure that my properties can handle both of my exits, of my cash flow as well. So yeah, that's my buy box. And I am here to partner up with people. If you can help me with acquisitions and I do the operations, we can definitely do that, because I already have that honed down. It's just the acquisitions part that I have, because mainly my acquisitions I buy and hold, but I'm willing to partner with people that are, have the same vision, want to help, at the same time get the cash flow that they want, and as well as the benefits of owning, being an owner.
Splendid. For you said 6 bedrooms minimum. Was it 1 story, 2 story? Does it matter?
Doesn't really matter, because we can install elevators or chair lifts or whatever, as long as it's in an area where we can find people to put in. Okay. Well, single for residential assisted, 1 floor is better, but a lot of, like, especially in Massachusetts, there are not that many single floors. Because
Right.
again, we have winter. So with 2-3 floors are, yeah.
Okay. And then so you said 6 bedrooms minimum. Is it okay if you have, like, you say 4 bedrooms and
4 bedrooms.
like,
If we can expand, that would be great. So
there
that's
you
why I said 2,000 square feet, 18 to 2,000 square feet, because you can technically put in there, because the minimum square footage of the rooms are like 10 by 10. We try to make it a little bit bigger than that, because again, we want to cater to those private pay. But yeah, 10 by 10 is the minimum for our other programs. So
Okay, so 100 square foot, 120 square foot, 10 by 10 is optimal, but if it's a little bit off, as long as it reaches that full amount, you can probably make it work.
just for the cash flow, like if you want to partner with me, if we want to really cash flow, 6 is the minimum for us to get what we wanted from the property and from the operations. If it's lower than that, we'd still get a good amount of cash flow, but it would be nice. It's like a sweet spot for the 6. So 6 above, 8 above, and stuff like that. We have, it fell through, but I'm still working on it. There's another property over here in Massachusetts as well that it's a duplex. We can put 8 and 8 on both, and it's on single floors. So again, that's a duplex, but we can work it out and make it into just one floor for each instead of up and down, so that can work too. So again, it depends on the property.
Do they require any permits for you to do assisted living, or is there a maximum amount of people you can have in a house?
So with my transitional housing, since I'm renting it out to the organization, I don't need any extra certificates or anything because the program already has it. With my residential assisted living, we would have to have like some type of permitting and certification for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we'll all work it out once we have them, because we have to have the property certified first before we can put in people.
Got it. Yeah, every state's different. So I was wondering how Massachusetts was working. Have you looked into any properties for assisted living where you can add sprinklers?
Yeah, so it's always best if you have sprinklers. So in Massachusetts, if it's 8 above, you have to have 8 or 10 above, you have to have sprinklers. And
Okay.
it's, for me, it's a safety precaution to have sprinkles. Because again, I'm dealing with the underserved, with the seniors, with the veterans and stuff. And if something happens, at least the sprinklers are there. Not all of them can rush in and go and take the, what do you call that? The fire extinguisher. And stuff.
Right.
And so if there's sprinklers in there, it's just safety. It's a huge cost upfront, but you're going to get that in the back end anyway. So, and it's something that you have to do to make everyone safe and everything,
Yeah, I was looking into some of that housing when I bought the sober living house that I have now. I didn't even think about it till later on. But even fire sprinklers, you think it's just water. But no, it has to be hooked up to the fire water system. So it's a separate connection than your regular city water that you have for your house.
Exactly.
And then you have to pay extra to get it connected to there, and it has to be all certified. I know in Texas, there's not a lot of requirements for like sober living for sprinklers. I think once you get to about 15 people, you may need it. But if you do have a house with sprinklers that you can make some really good cash flow by having sprinklers installed for assisted living, healthcare houses that way. So if somebody's looking to get into it and they have funds to be able to put sprinklers in the Texas area, that's a good way to invest some money and get it back pretty fast. For your property management company, are you looking for more properties to manage, or is it just the ones that you have?
For my transitional, yes. If we can rent out. So I wanna manage the properties through the program and not just get something that, a single fact, because I don't want to really deal with tenants or individuals or, families renting. I want to deal with like companies. So if it's rented through a company or a corporation, I would manage that, no problem. But I don't want to manage, a triplex with 3 different families in there. Because again, we are tenant state. And so we're not landlord state. So we're like more tenant, and everything.
Tenant friendly compared to landlord friendly.
Yeah,
Understand.
It's hard to. Yeah, I don't want to be in that area where I have to evict anyone or anything. If it worst comes to worst, yeah, but I don't really want to be in that.
Right.
So the properties that I manage, I don't have that issue.
Okay. Is there any specific companies that you can mention that do that type of service?
If you see any senior facilities, we work with them. because they're nonprofits. We work with a lot of nonprofits as well. So those are the type of companies that we work with. With corporate housing, we work a lot with ALE solutions. You can just list your property, go into a website, list your property in there, and they will call you if they have availabilities. What I did too before, when my one of my properties weren't getting as much when it was like winter time or springtime, what I did was I called hospital, because it was close to hospitals and other businesses. I called hospitals, I called schools, and I told them, if any one of you as staff, residents, fellows, or even families of patients that are looking to find a place to stay while their family are in the hospital, I'm offering my house at whatever 10% discount or something, just so I can get rent. And so I got a lot of nurses, I got a lot of fellows, residents that are renting my property. And I also have, back then there's a lot of traveling nurses. And so I got a lot of those as well.
Let's dive a little bit deeper to ALE, which is alternate living expenses. So if you have an insurance claim and you can't stay in your house, when you do your insurance claim, they pay you for ALE, and that stands for alternate living expenses. And the company website, you said, is ALE Solutions. I did a little bit of research on it when I had a property that I had Airbnb. I have it as an Airbnb, and I was considering to do that. But I was afraid of, what if they don't rent it out for a couple of months? How do you make up that income? And then I couldn't find online like what a good rate to charge is, because you're supposed to get better than market rate, long-term market rate. Can you expand on that?
So I always rent out my So the property that they rented out for me, I have a net cash flow of $2,200 on the property that I rented through them, and they take care of utilities. They care. The maintenance, because they rent it 3 months at a time. Sometimes they extend to 4 or 5 months. So when ALE Solutions or other corporations rent my property, I always have at least a month that is not being rented, because more so than not, they would extend. And so I try to have at least a month vacant. So when they extend, I can say yes, because when they extend, you can actually ask for more money, because they're having an extension. And so, and I had a few, I got them through ALE Solutions, right? But then they would come back to me and send me a text message separate from ALE Solutions. And so we would struck a deal that way. I mean, it's okay for me because I have a property managed company, but if you're only one person and you're just doing it on your own, I'm not sure what you have as,
protections.
Yeah. So they would rent out to me outside of ALE Solutions, but it's still a company that's renting it out. Like I had a few construction companies that have rented out my property. So the typical rent for my property is like $4,500. With them outside of ALE Solutions, I was able to rent it out for $6,500. I mean, $6,500. And so companies actually have, because otherwise they would put their employees in a hotel, which is going to be $100 a day or something like that. And so they're still getting a discount from renting your house, even if it's like $6,500 a month. Because again, there were my property could accommodate up to, I said 12, but comfortably maybe 8 or 10. And so they would have the other people would sleep in a sofa bed and stuff, but they were like 8 people in here. And imagine if they're renting out on a hotel at $100 each for 8 people for a month or 2 months, right? So $6,500 is like a no-brainer for them. They're still getting a discount from it, and it's giving me a good cash flow. And they're paying they paying the utilities too. And they actually busted my shower, my glass shower. It just shattered. You know how glass doors just shatters, and they shatters, and it shattered. It's a good thing because they're contractors and they know that it shatters, and they paid for it. So
Wow.
that's one thing that. Yeah. So far, I haven't been burned by any of the renters that I've had before, and even my repeat renters. Crossing my fingers and praying that it wouldn't. But yeah, so far so good. Yeah, with all my renters.
So with those are called mentored rentals when you're going with the ALE Solutions and corporate rentals. that property, do you keep it 100% midterm rental, or do you mix and match it with Airbnb during some time?
I actually have it rented out to another arbitrage. So this guy lives in California, and he saw my property on Airbnb, and he arbitraged it. So he rented it out. So we just give it to them on a monthly basis, and he rents it out for 2 years.
2 years? Wow.
Yes,
Arbitrage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm arbitraging.
That's awesome.
Arbitrage, kind of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So if that situation didn't happen, that midterm rental, do you keep it just for midterm rental, or do you do put on Airbnb for short-term rentals, or you just keep it minimum
all of my
30
properties, if it's not rented, they're in Airbnb, they're in Zillow, they're in apartments.com, so they're in Craigslist. I put them all out there so that I get more traction. Yeah, so they're in VRBO. I hate booking.com though. Hate it. So I took all my listings out of booking.com. But yeah, everything else they're in there. So if they're not rented out for long term, they're on Airbnb. Yeah.
That's funny you just mentioned booking.com, because our Airbnb, we have most of it, 80% of our traffic's Airbnb. We have it on VRBO, and yesterday we started filling out for booking.com. So I haven't finished it yet, but what is it that you don't like about it?
Make sure you look it up on how you're going to get paid. Because some of them, they don't, they have like the option of pay at the property. I hate that. I didn't read it before. I didn't have VAs when I did that. So, pay at the property or pay cash or whatever, those little, that's why a lot of people, I love booking.com if I'm booking for myself and I'm on vacation, but I don't want my property in there.
Got it. Just do the payment. Okay. So suggestion for me, I have my Airbnb and I want to change it to midterm rental. So I put it on ALE Solutions. I know you can't just leave it there because you have to be consistent to try to be top of mind. What's your recommendation on what to do to get it out there as a midterm rental? Because we're close to a hospital. We're 5 minutes away from a hospital. So I was trying to get it to nurses.
So Furnish Finder is one. And I would call the hospital as well. They might have like a housing department there and say, I know you have families of patients in there that are looking for a place to stay. So instead of them staying at a hotel or whatever, my property is actually close to the hospital, and I can give your hospital, if they're coming from there, like a 10%, whatever, 15% discount if they prefer to stay with us, because that's what I did before. Okay.
So do you find the housing department directly for them, or you just call their main number that's on their Google Maps?
I call HR because HR knows everything. I was like, can you connect me to the HR? Do you have like a, housing department? Because they have a list of hotels and stuff that they give out to patients. Just put your name in there. Just have your thing in there, and so that people can pick and choose. And if you have it says there on your name that you offer a discount, it's most likely that they'll call you and book with you rather than, at a hotel. Especially, it worked out well with me before because, pandemic, a lot of people wanted to travel, but they don't necessarily want to stay at the hotel because of the people, the traffic of people. And it worked well with me because I have 7 rooms in the house, and it's a huge house, and a lot of people can stay in it without you mingling with any other people, just your family.
Yeah, it's a very good idea. So hospitals, ALE, and how do you go about corporate housing?
It's the same thing. So when you see construction and then you see the trucks there and it's not even in your town, it means that they're traveling from their town to here. They must have housing somewhere there, maybe a hotel or something. I would get the number of that truck and then ask them, hey, I know I've seen your truck around here. I wonder where you're housing your employees. By the way, I have a property here and there, or whatever state you are. If you're looking for something, just hit me up. We'll do rentals or whatever. Something like that.
Okay, very good. I like that very much. Thinking outside of the box instead of just trying to go online, doing some recon outside the property. And
yeah. Because locally, you can see them locally. It's right there. So
right.
there's traction in there. You go online, you don't know where it's going to go. But if you're already there and if you see them, there's a lot of construction going on. If they're not local, they're probably staying somewhere else. So
Thank you. Thank you for that information. I'm going to see if I take action on it. That's the next part, is learning about it, but taking action.
Yeah,
You know?
a company, 3 contractors stayed in one of our properties in the Middlesex in Massachusetts, and they work with Bank of America. They're a private contracting company, works with Bank of America, and they are transforming, renovating Bank of America's. You know, the little Bank of America's here and there, and they go to different states renovating Bank of America banks.
Okay.
And so they stayed here. They stayed in my other property in Springfield, and they were like, "Oh, by the way, we're going to be in Austin, in Texas, Ulysses, Texas, or whatever." And so I broadcast on, I think, on Sub2 or some of my friends that are in Texas, that I was like, okay, I have 3 contractors. They're willing to pay this much. They're staying in Ulysses for 3 weeks or 4 weeks while they do the Bank of America over there. If anyone's, have a rental that they can rent to, send them over my way and stuff. They ended up doing another Airbnb because I knew them through Airbnb. They rented my property for a good 3.5 months. I think they extended. So, because I have that on my Airbnb too, I put in there long-term, midterm accepted. So
Okay.
I go to a maximum of 90 days or whatever. And so good thing with Airbnb is when they book, they pay you right away.
Right.
And so I have very strict rules with Airbnb that, a certain amount of time, I cannot refund you anymore. But it works.
Okay. So another owner club member, they lent some money on a property in Odessa, and they had to take it back. Those two are in North Carolina, so they don't really know Odessa. I know Odessa because there's a lot of industrial traveling there. So for people that aren't able there to see the trucks, what do you suggest them to try to get their property out for midterm rental?
Midterm rental? I don't know Odessa a lot, but I would just go online and see if they have insurance companies, flood insurance companies, most especially flood insurance companies, and the roofing and siding companies. Just call them and see if you have encountered anything, if you need housing for whatever. So typically, if it's flooding, you have to take the family out because they need to do whatever it is that they need to do. Make sure there's no mold or anything, so people cannot be in there if they're mitigating for flood. So they need to house those people. So I would suggest calling whatever it is, local insurance companies that you have, and just call them and say, if you have a listing for houses that you need to rent on this area, these are my house and these are my rates. Let me know. And offering pets too. A lot of people don't allow pets. I allow pets on all my properties. I do have a pet fee, and I tell them, if I need extra cleaning because of your pet hair or odor, I will send you another bill. And they're all, if they're true pet lovers, they're okay with that. If it's just, whatever, for pet lover, they would be mad at that. But I haven't encountered anyone that, has been like, oh, my cat didn't do that or whatever. Especially cats, because they go everywhere. They go on top of everything. And yeah, dogs are fine, but cats, I actually usually, most of the time, ask for more payment for cats because they just go everywhere. So
that's a good tip. I say no pets allowed, but some people ask. And then I'll kind of question them to see what type of dog owners they are, if they're dog parents or if they're dog owners,
yeah, exactly. We have a lot of pets too, so I do understand, like, not on the furniture, all that stuff. But as long as you're upfront with them and tell them, this is my pet fee, but there's an additional pet fee if for some reason we encounter this, and that, they're pretty much okay with it. Your properties will be rented out more if you accept pets rather than not accept pets.
I like that. I need to add that. I haven't done it because upstairs has some carpet, and then once I do change out the carpet to like LVT, then I'll consider putting pets 100%. But that's a very good idea. That'll probably help pay for the LVT by adding the pets, and then saying, hey, if we have the smell, this and that, we'll send you evidence and an extra fee for it. Yeah. Very, very good information. I hadn't thought about that. Good way to increase bookings and increase income on an Airbnb. So I guess one more time was the MTR and pricing. So the Airbnb, if I rent it out regular long-term rental, probably does like $2,800 a month, not furnished. And then my Airbnb furnished, we do about $4,500 a month. So what do you think a midterm rental price would be? I suggest it'd be more than $2,800 because it's furnished, but I assume it would be less than the $4,500 for Airbnb because it's more stable, I guess.
So with me, with my Airbnb, I kind of put everything, and I tell them if they're renting it out Airbnb, obviously you're going to be paying for everything, including the utilities, right? So what I do is, so one thing I did was I only allowed them to rent 2 months, because by that time you're going to be able to get their information and everything, right? Their phone number, their email and stuff once the booking is confirmed. And I send them, I know Airbnb has a regulation on this, but they typically ask me if I want to come back and rent this out, can we do outside? As long as you're okay with that, you can rent outside, then you can set the terms. But with my midterm rentals, most of them wanted it furnished, and all my properties are furnished. I haven't rented out anything that's unfurnished. So it's just a matter of having them pay for utilities or not. So that's as long as I get the cash flow that I wanted to get. My cash flow, it has to be above 1,500 to 2,000 plus the utilities. So that's my threshold. So I guess it's a matter of your comfort zone. Some people, 500 cash flow is okay with them. 200 cash flow is okay with them, but not on my end. I have to have at least that, just in case anything happens, Yeah.
Love it. How do I partner with you to get some of that cash flow?
yeah, exactly. You want to maximize it because, incidentals and stuff too.
Oh yeah, for sure. The war chest, as Pace used to say, now the money or something happens when it gets damaged, and it's not a triple net lease the way you're doing. That freaking amazing. I think you're the first person I hear that's doing triple net lease on like single family homes, which is amazing way to go about it. It helps reduce your costs in the future and maintenance and repairs. For your acquisition company, are you looking for any people to bring on board?
Not right now. I think we're capped right now. So it's unfortunate that I am not really doing a lot of acquisitions right now because I wanna do the residential assisted living. Joining Owners Club kind of gave me that passion that I really wanna. Aside from the cash flow, aside from obviously it's gonna be there all the time, but I really wanna like help more people, home more people, and all. So I'm concentrating on that. Obviously, we want to buy and hold, and everything that the stuff that my acquisitions company are calling are for our buy and hold. So, but mainly I'm trying to have them call the area wherein we can put residential assisted living private pay. So that's another, because we have to still study it, we have to research it. If there's people that we can put in the facility, because it's one thing to put up a facility, but it's another to fill them with people, right? I don't care how good you're looking or how nice your facility is. If no one's going in there, you're not going to cash flow. It's going to be a dud. So that's one more thing. You have to find that certain area where you can put in people. And it's a whole lot of learning at that time. And I'm the only one in my acquisitions company. I close, I do everything. So I don't have the bandwidth yet to get more people.
Okay.
But yeah, eventually I will. That's why I'm partnering with people right now that can do the acquisitions for me, and I do the operations side. And I'm not operating it, but I'm hiring people that could operate it because I want to own both the property and the operations as well. So yeah.
That's a great vision. Speaking of vision, what is your Mount Everest? Tapes Morby's challenge for us owners.
Yeah. Residential assisted housing. So residential assisted living facilities in Massachusetts. I'm concentrating in Massachusetts right now, but at least in the next 3 years, I want to have 1 in 20 states. And I think if I have partners that can, operate it over there, it's easy to do. I don't care. So a lot of people, I've been looking at their Mount Everest, they're ever changing. And so the people that before only wanted to have like pad split or whatever, their Mount Everest has changed, and now it's also residential assisted living. And in a way, I'm not scared of people having it as their Mount Everest or having it as their long-term goal, because a lot of seniors are coming in. The silver tsunami is what they call it. And I
Oh,
don't know
I
how
haven't heard
many,
that.
75 million, or I don't know. Don't have my research here with me right now. But even if everyone in the owners club puts up a residential assisted living, there's going to be still an overflow. And so we want to home those people. And there's a lot of transitional housing as well, wherein seniors are one of those. And not all of them can afford assisted living facilities wherein you pay 4, 5, 6,000, per month. And so that's why I tailor my properties into housing both that and the transitional, so we can provide more housing to more people. So residential assisted housing and transitional housing basically all together, because I want to tailor my property to handle those. One in each in 20 states at least in the next 3 years. 10 to 20 doors would generate net of 40 to 50,000 a month. And that would help me, with all of the other causes that I want to do. Help more people, hire more people, So yeah, that's my Mount Everest.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So 20 states in the next 3 to 5 years. So I assume you're going to be partnering up with people to do that, right?
Yes, I would love to partner up with people, because I can't be in 2 places at a time, and I have to
20
have,
places.
only if I could. But yeah, it's that's why doing this is important. So, and with what I want to do, it's not just partnering with money and partnering. We have to have the same vision. We have to have like the same wavelength that we really want to help, and then have this, we have to have the vision. We have to have the cause, why we want it. We have to have the same why, basically. And that's the people that I want to part as well. Strategy and, the heart as well. So
if you listen this far and you are an experienced assisted living in 20 states or in different states, or even in Massachusetts, right? Anywhere in the United States, reach us, leave a comment, or find her at her Instagram, Celeste Samonte,
yes.
Facebook, everywhere, YouTube. Send her a message and see how you guys can work together and help people out, and then just be good people to the world,
Mm-hmm.
Operator through Owners Club. Have you looked into that yet?
I actually just filled out the form, because
Okay.
I've been looking for that form, but for some reason I just saw it recently. Let's see if I'm ready for an operator. I think I am. So I have
Good
been.
luck
That's
with
why I joined that's why I joined the Owners Club. I have been now, but I was kind of embarrassed because once they go into my companies and how chaotic it is, I was like, that was like kind of like my fear. So, but yeah, I'm ready to have someone like look at it and give me some structure when it comes to the companies.
From the way I look at it, you're doing great. You're doing fantastic. As I've told you earlier, what I'm doing, I don't have any structure. I don't have any SOPs by myself. And I have all these little things going, but it's a little bit, but it's not really adding up. I'm not making what I want to make it for the time that I'm putting into it. So I need to put my focus into one thing. So anybody out there that's an integrator, I need you. Celeste needs an integrator as well to help her get organized, get the system. We're visionaries, and we need somebody to help us implement our vision. Do you have any questions for me about how I can help you out besides the putting this out there and trying to get your name?
Oh yeah, I just want to thank you for this opportunity again. And if you think that I can bring you value on whatever it is that you learned from me, feel free to reach out. I'm not sure how I can help you with your business, but I'm pretty sure we can figure something out. And to anyone out there, if you have a property that you're thinking, what do I have? What can I do with this property? It's not renting out or whatever. Maybe I can teach you 1 or 2 things that might work in your state. Again, I am mainly in Massachusetts, but I doubt that it's not being done on other states as well. It's just a matter of asking, of calling, and just doing your little research on how you can maximize your rent in there, and at the same time help more people. So yeah, reach out if you have. Celeste Samonte on all platforms.
Yeah, please reach out. Another thing I just remembered, going back to housing aged out orphans, right? Is that the way you say it?
Aged out foster youth. Once
Foster
they
youth
turn
state.
18, they have to get out of the foster system. So they're being, put out
So I know
in the world.
I know two other people that want to do that. One, her name is Lorena Ortiz. Shout out Lorena. She was on my channel as well. She's a sub 2 student. She's like my second podcast, my second
Lorena
podcast.
Ortiz?
Yes. She's not in Owners Club, but she is sub 2 and Engager as well. Also, Owners Club member Donda Milinex.
Donda Molinex, yeah.
Yeah, help me, Donda. Shout out to her. She wants to do that as well. There's one other person I don't remember off the top of my head. Sorry.
I think the other one is Stephanie. Stephanie does it in California.
Okay. Is that Stephanie Gibson?
That's Stephanie.
Gibson?
Yeah, it's Stephanie Gibson. She does she does in California as well. Yeah, she's doing a tremendous job over there.
Fantastic. So if that's something else you're interested in and you're not sure how to get into, hey, reach out to Celeste or the other names that I gave, Lorena, Donda, and go from there. Please catch another episode. Please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe and contact us. We're here to help. Right, thank you so much. Catch this next podcast where you can start your dreams and start to own your time the way these other guests have.